She wants to buy a new drum kit and has saved $2,500. She's going to invest the money in an account that pays interest compounding quarterly. Okay. The balance of this investment becomes from this recurrence relation. So that's how we're going to get our, after n months, that's what we're going to get our TN value. So the first part of this question is calculate the total interest that would be earned by Tish's investment in the first 5 months. So we're going to use, I'm going to use a recurrence relation to do it. But before we do that, we've got to consider that the interest, because that's what we're after. We're after the total interest. We need to find out that is TN minus T0. So it's what we end up with after 5 months minus what we started with. Okay, so that's going to be the value for T5 minus 2,500. And that becomes across from that there. Okay, so that's what we're going to use once we've worked out what T5 is. So I'm literally going to put T5 here equals. Now, how do we calculate T5? Now, I'm going to use a recurrence relation to this. I'm going to put 2,500 into my calculator. And then I'm going to go times, remember I can use the answer. You can actually type ANS and that will do, this will do the same thing, but I'm going to go answer times 1.0036 because that comes across from that part there. And I'm going to go enter. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so we need to go round your answer to the nearest cent. So it has to be the second decimal, and we've got a 5 next to it, so that means it's going to be 0.33. So our answer is 2545.33, so .33. So that's our T5, okay? So therefore, our interest is going to be 2545.33 minus 2.5. So therefore, it's going to be 545.33. So that's how much interest she would have earned in the first 5 months. Okay. So let's have a look next one. Tisha could invest the 2,500 in a different account that pays interest at a rate of 4.08% per annum, compounding monthly. Again, it's always important to make a note. It's compounding monthly, and that's your per annum interest rate. She wants to make a payment of $150 into this account every month. So she's making an additional $150 payment every month. Okay, so let's have a look at what we need to do. A recurrence relation will always start with your V0 equals, and we're told that that's, in this case, that's your V0. So that's 2,500. Okay, comma, Vn plus 1 equals. Now, this is where I'm going to put something to the side which you won't need to put in, and let's change the color just so it makes it clear. But I'm just going to put so you can see where this is coming from. So I'm going to put here, I'm going to put investment with additional payments. Okay, so you should have this or some version of this. Oops, that's a payments in your summary book. Okay. Vn plus 1 equals R Vn plus D. Now D is your extra payment. So, but let's look at what we're going to do next. We're going to go R is 1 plus in little r over n, because that's the number of in this case in a per annum. It's a monthly thing. So that divided by 100 plus D. So for our purposes, that's going to be 1 plus 4.08 divided by 12, divide all that by 100 plus 150. Okay. So that's what you're going to put. You need to put that into your calculator. You just basically need to put this bit in to your calculator. Okay. So let's actually do that, and you'll see what number we get. Because after that, you'll get plus 150, which I'll show you in a moment what the final things are going to look like. So let's have a look. We're going to go 1 plus, okay, then we're going to go, where was it? This one here, And then in that same one, we actually want to have the same thing going in there. And so in this case, remember R was, R was 4.08. So I'm going to put 4.08. Then I'm going to put 12. Then I'm going to put 100. And that gives you 1.0034. So that's our R. So that's what you're going to get, 1.0034. Okay, that's for your R. So you might have noticed my mistake there, VN. That was a bit of an on my part. Okay, so that's what we put in. We're going to put 1.0034 VN plus 150. That's your recurrence relation. Okay. So in this case, Tisha would like to have a balance of 4,500 to the nearest dollar after 12 months. What annual interest rate would Tisha require? Now, in a one like this, I would be using Finance Solver. So if you remember how to get Finance Solver, you go Menu, Finance, and then just go Finance Solver. Okay. I like to, in this case, I'm going to write out these things on the side, and then we'll put the calculation in. Okay. So what I like to do, and it's probably good practice for when you're putting this into your, into your answer, go N, so the examiner can actually see what values you've used, PV, PMT, FV, and in this case PPY, and because it's the same, I'm going to put CPY ... there. This is going to be 12. So we've said she wants to have a balance of 4.5. That's FV. So that becomes 4,500. We're going to have payments 150. We're going to have principal value. That's 2.5. That's your V0. That's 2.5. So that's 2.5. Okay. What's the annual interest rate? What we need to put in there is nothing. We're going to calculate that. So let's put a highlighter there to say that's what we're going to put in. And how many payments? It's 12 after 12 months. So that's what I'm going to put 12 in there. Now, this is not all correct as it currently stands, because you've got to remember when you use a finance solver, you've got to think about where the money's going, whether you're putting the money in or whether basically bank's giving you money. If you're putting money into it, then it's a negative. So this becomes negative because you're giving the bank 2,500, and the payments are going to be negative because you're giving the bank $150. The FV is positive because the bank will give you that back to you after 12 months. And that's the way to look at it. So when you put that in your calculator, let's have a look. N is going to be 12. Then that's going to be 2.5. And I need to make sure I put the minus on there. Payment's going to be minus as well. FV is going to be 4.5. PPY is going to be 12. Oops. So we're going to go back up to our interest, and because that's the one we're interested in, we can press enter at that point. And we get a value of 5.87, and it's asking for in 2 decimal places. So I'm going to put 5.87. So that's 5.87. Okay. So your basically R is equal to 5.87%. Okay, that is question 7 done.